President of the League of Women Voters of Manatee County. On behalf of the League, I welcome you to this presentation, Growing Together in North River Manatee County. Whether you live in or near Manatee County, you feel the impact of change in our county. Thank you for joining us and learning about and exploring a strategic option for shaping positive change. Today's program is being recorded and will be available on our YouTube channel. Any use of the recording, other than showing in its entirety, must get written permission from the League. At the end of the presentation by our speaker, we will be taking questions. Please put your questions in chat. We are proud to welcome our distinguished speaker, Amber Lamerson. Amber is a nonprofit professional with more than 11 years of experience in donor relations, advancement operations, and nonprofit strategy. She has worked alongside organizations at every stage of growth to strengthen their internal systems, build meaningful relationships, and create clear, actionable paths forward. She has supported organizations such as the Bay Park Conservancy in researching major milestones and partnered with Sarasota Children's Museum to help launch the mobile museum and build early community support. Amber currently serves as Director of Community Impact at Bishop Parker Foundation, where she works closely with nonprofit and public partners to strengthen Manatee County through thoughtful grant making, community engagement, and collaborative initiatives. Outside of her professional work, Amber serves as a board member for the EDC Sarasota Foundation and is an avid cook who finds joy in creating and sharing meals with others. Amber, I turn it over to you.
Thank you so much, and thanks for inviting me here today to making space for this conversation about growing together in North River Manatee County. And so we can hear, what we're learning is alongside the residents, leaders, and community members across the region. Like we said, my name is Amber Lamerson. I am the Director of Community Impact for Bishop Parker Foundation, and I also have the pleasure of being the coordinator for Growing Together in North River Manatee County. So before we begin, I really want to make sure that everyone understands where we're talking about, what we're talking about, give you a little bit of the background. Then I'll talk to you a little bit about kind of how the process is working, where we are in it, what's coming next. And then, of course, like we mentioned, we'll also leave some time for you to ask any questions that you have about it as well. So Growing Together in North River Manatee is a collaborative initiative between Bishop Parker Foundation, the Patterson Foundation, and the Harwood Institute for Public Innovation. We're all three nonprofit organizations that support the community. Bishop Parker Foundation, just as a quick aside, we are a private foundation that was created from the philanthropic legacies of Ned and Patty Bishop and their adopted daughter, Mary Parker. We support nonprofit and public partners in areas like health, human services, arts and culture, animal welfare, and others. So this work that we're doing is really important to us, and really the genesis of it was because we know that North River Manatee County is one of the fastest growing areas in Florida, and not just Florida, but almost in the whole country as well. And so with that growth, brings lots of opportunity and lots of new things, but it also brings a lot of questions, including how do we stay connected? What happens to the people who were here? How do we preserve the legacy and the specialness of a location while all this change is occurring? And so this initiative is really to help figure out and designed to help strengthen the civic culture of the area and help build trust, strengthen relationships, and determine what the area really needs to thrive. So before we go any further, I just kind of want to explain what we mean by North River. The North River area that we're referring to is all the communities that are in Manatee County, but are cut off from South County by the river. So that goes from Terracea, Smead Island, Memphis, Rabonia, Duet, all the way out and to the east and also, those ones in between, so Parrish and Ellington as well. So we're really talking about kind of that top third of Manatee County. And the reason that we selected that area is because it is really feeling right now the push and change the most rapidly of that development. So um, we have been working very closely for this has now been the past 6 months. We started there with the first phase, and now we are moved into kind of what we call phase two, which is the action phase. And so I'll start with the beginning and kind of tell you how we got here and where we started at. So the early work in this first phase really was focused on listening. And so what we did it is we really wanted to hear from as many people as we possibly could. What are the things that they really love about living in North River Manatee County? What are the challenges that they're experiencing? And what's their aspirations? What do people who live there really want to see? And how do they think that they can thrive there in that area? And so over the last several months, we have been doing community conversations, one-on-one interviews with leaders across the county, and some roundtables with different sectors. We pulled together leaders from healthcare industry, from education, from the faith sector, from multiple different ones. And so the goal was to bring those people together and really hear their voices. So what we have come up with and what the result of all of that conversation has been is a report that just came out this past week. And that report is called Growing Together in North River Manatee County. And really, it is a reflection, not what we believe we heard, but really the true reflection of the voices of the people who we've met with in those meetings. And so we did 36 of the interviews. We did about 18 of the conversations, and they had, between 15 and 20 people of them. And then we did 14 of those sector roundtables. So, we heard from quite a few people, and we did these all over the county. We did a few in Parrish. We did a few. We did one in Duet. We did one in all Spanish. We did one virtually with youth from Parrish High School and from Palmetto High School. So we really dug in and were able to hear from many of the people who are in the community. And what we determined and what we really heard from them is, one of the things is that number one, people really wanted a stronger connection. People are feeling really isolated, and people are really feeling disconnected from both each other and the current process that we have in our county. And so, what we hope will happen is we will be able to work with these different groups to hear and learn more about what they're needing, what they are looking for, and how we can help them with the report shaping that. So, what I'll quickly do is just kind of tell you what did we hear in the report. So, and once we leave, I'll absolutely make sure that you all have the link to it so that you can read this for yourself as well. So, from the conversations in the report, we learned and heard that people really love living here in Manatee County. They love the weather, they love the amenities, being by the water and things like that. But what that's done is that's almost created a resort-like mentality for the people who live here. A few people are engaged. A lot of people live in closed communities and neighborhoods. And in fact, as we were going through this process, one of the things we asked a lot of people were, what area of North River do you live in? And we were very shocked and surprised that a lot of the people didn't tell us, oh, I live in Parrish or I live in Ellington. They said the name of their community. They said the name of their neighborhood. And that's really crucial because that really shows us where their focus is. And it's really just within those kind of smaller pockets and not thinking about the community as a whole. The other thing that we heard is People feel, like I said, fragmented and isolated. They don't know where or how to get information about what's available to them here in the community. And that could be resources, that could be entertainment, that could be a wide range of things, that services even. So there are people who really are feeling like they're struggling. And the number one thing that we felt and heard was people are really, really conflicted about this change in growth. And we have to remember that there's a difference between either being pro growth or anti growth. This is really about just the conflict, the feeling of we see things changing and they're changing very quickly. And we don't know and we don't feel that we can trust that the end goal of this process will benefit everyone. So we all know that your report is really just a report, right? It's just a paper that kind of can inform and give you guidance, but that doesn't mean that that's the way that things need to work. It doesn't give you the answer. And so we still are, what the next phase of this process will be that now that we have the themes, that we know what the community wants, what they're thinking about, and what their aspirations are, we're moving into the next phase of this process, which is the action phase. So we've listened, we've heard, and now we're going to be taking the information, those themes that I kind of ran through with you. And what we'll do is we'll form action teams around those themes. We think it'll probably be three teams, and those teams will actually decide what can we as a community do to affect the underlying issues that were addressed in this report, and how can we make that a shared aspiration, that shared future that we imagine, how can we make that come true for everyone? And so, one of the biggest things that we like to mention is that this is your report. This is the community's report, the community's information, because no one organization, no one entity, no one business is going to be able to accept and really make movement on such big issues and such big challenges. But we know that if we together pool our resources together, pool our collective brains and collective um, efforts together, then we can make some movement on some of those big issues. And so, in this next phase, what we will be doing is they're called Public Innovators Labs. We'll be bringing together 50 individuals who are really excited and ready to move and ready to take action on some of these issues. We just finished 7 roundtables and 1 community event where Rich Harwood, who is the president and founder of the Harwood Institute, came and kind of spoke with the public about what we heard in the report, where we are headed with this project, and how they can be involved in it. And so this phase is where we bring the community back in and really form those teams, and the community leads those 3 teams to determine what issues we think that we can take on and actually how we can move that forward. And so the goal is that once we have these 3 teams working and moving in this work, they'll act as enzymes. Those 3 teams will then, not only will they be made up of people from the community and community leaders, and by people we mean both community leaders and everyday individuals and businesses to be involved in this. And so those people will take the work to that team that they're working on, but we also expect that they will take that back to the work that they're doing in their everyday lives. And that will help this work, that will help these ideas continue to grow and spread. And really, we know that we can't take this from what we call a top-down approach. We can't come in and tell the community what it needs. This really has to start from a grassroots effort and build its way up from there. And this is the way that we'll do that, is by forming these small teams, by having them work on some issues and challenges. And then we know that as they continue to work, as they take that work over to other places in the community, this will all kind of start to come together. And what Rich Harwood has been doing this work in communities for more than 40 years. And so I think that if I remember correctly, we are definitely, in the 40 or 50th community that he has been doing this work through. And he says that what he's learned over the years is that you really have to start small, that it's really the first lesson is how do we trust each other, right? We think about just the current climate, being isolated, being divided. The first thing that we have to do is learn how to come back together and work together in different ways. And so that's part of what the second phase does is it really teaches us how can we work together better? How can we change the way that we're working so that we are actually keeping the whole community in our line of sight and not just focused on, ourselves, not just focused on our one organization. How are we really lifting up the whole community together? So what comes after that? After we do this next phase through the Public Innovators Labs, and once the teams actually start working, like I said, we will continue this work for another 2 years. So the Harwood Institute will be here to work alongside those teams. They will have coaches here. I will be here and others to help make sure that they feel supported, that the teams feel supported and are able to get some accomplishments under their belt. So the goal is that in 2 years' time, we will be able to come back and kind of tell the story of how we have been able to, with our collective shared resources, come together to make Manatee County a little bit better for everyone who lives here. So what I will do is kind of close this out today and also, like I said, leave some time for a few questions. But just to reiterate kind of those four key things that we saw. Number one, we've heard that people are longing for a stronger sense of community. Like I said, people are isolated. They are in their own bubble. They're focused on, their work, their job, their children. But we all know that in order to really have a thriving, healthy community, it really takes that engagement from everyone. And it really takes everyone feeling like this is a place that belongs to them in order for that to really occur. Number two, people are conflicted about the growth. It's fast, it's moving, it's changing, and we're not sure that there's anything that we can do to stop it, but I think that we can absolutely take a minute and really pause and say, is the way that we are moving the best for everyone? And if not, then what can we do together to shift that, change that, adjust that to make it better and to make it true? Number three, people weren't sure where to go when they had these kind of deeper challenges. And so I really appreciate being able to be on a call with people like you because this is one of those spaces. This is a space where people are going to be able to come and really talk about the things that matter to them and hopefully do that in a space that's free from judgment and free from feeling like you are going to be have your hand slapped or feeling like you are going to be looked down upon because of anything that you said. So I, appreciate this and would encourage you to continue using this space as one of those locations. And the fourth was people really rallied around one of the themes, and one of those themes was youth. We were very surprised to find that we talked to the students, they love their individual schools. Of course, we know that there are some challenges at the higher levels, but in reality, the children really felt that they were supported, that they were cared about. But the one thing that was missing is they didn't feel like they have a lot of spaces of their own. They didn't have places to go. So, really thinking about how can we provide them and not provide what we as adults or we as organizations in the community think that children need, but really listening to the children themselves to hear what they want to see, what they want to hear. Like I said, Rich Harwood, who is one of our collaborators on this, was recently here, and he said that in one of the other communities that they're working in, youth was one of the main action teams. And from that, and he said that, this was in a community much like ours, where there were lots of resources, there were tons of after school programs, there were lots of, opportunities for kids, but they weren't taking advantage of it. And what they realized is once they actually talked to the students, they weren't providing what the students wanted. They were providing what they thought the students wanted and needed. So that provided them with the wonderful opportunity to readjust the way and reconfigure the way that they had been doing their after school programming for decades to really actually fit and change to meet the students where they were and to help them grow and succeed. So that's just a really small example, and just one drop in the bucket of what we're hoping to see here in North River Manatee County. So with that, what I'll do is let you have any questions, and make sure that we leave time for that.
I almost forgot to unmute myself. Amber, thank you so much. I attended a couple of those listening sessions, and I really want to compliment you, Amber, and the other representatives that were there in terms of how well you listened. Monday of this week, I went to a all afternoon presentation by Braver Angels, and one of the things they emphasized was listening. And it seems to me that the people that worked in these listening sessions did an excellent job, and I am looking forward to reading the report. I feel that you have definitely touched on the key points of the conflict that people have with, they would like more community, but more of a sense of community, and they want to participate in it, but they do feel isolated and find it hard to find the time or way to figure out how to do that. And they certainly are conflicted about the growth. So thank you very much. In terms of the report, do you want to put the link in chat, or do you want to send it to us separately?